All right, developers, testers, automation engineers. Let's talk about that feeling. You know the one I'm talking about? A tiny change to some test data, and suddenly you're digging through mountains of code, and somehow that one little update breaks 10 other tests. It's absolute chaos. But what if I told you there's a clear path from that chaos to total control? Let's dive in and see how we get there. So, you've got two kinds of test suites in the world. On the left, well, that's the one we've all written at some point, right? It's brittle, it's a nightmare to read, and it feels like it just wants to break. But on the right, that's where we want to be. Robust, a breeze to maintain, and totally scalable. Now, the huge difference between these two worlds, it's not magic. It's all about one simple, powerful idea for how we handle our test data. The reason so many of us get stuck in that old way is because we fall into what I call the test data trap. It's this super common habit of burying our test data, usernames, passwords, search terms, right inside our test scripts.
Think about it like this. Your test script is the recipe. It's the step-by-step logic. And the test data? Well, that's just the ingredients. You would never write add 2 cups of flour in the middle of your baking instructions, right? You'd list it separately. Mixing it all up in your code is just as messy and makes your tests incredibly hard to figure out.
And that brings us to the single most important idea for escaping this trap. It is the one golden rule that will completely transform your automation suite: separation.
Now, the official name for this golden rule is test data management. And here's the key takeaway. It is all about separating the what your test does, that's the logic, from the with what it does it, that's the data. And trust me, this isn't just some nice-to-have best practice. It's the absolute foundation for building professional, scalable, and actually useful automated tests.
Okay, so how do we actually put this golden rule into practice? Well, it's not about learning one single trick. It's about having a whole toolkit of strategies that all work together.
Our toolkit really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, we externalize our data, which just means getting it the heck out of our scripts. Second, we organize it, so it's structured and useful for all of our different test scenarios. And third, and this is a big one, we secure it, because sensitive info has no business sitting in plain text inside your code.
Let's start with that first tool, externalize. This just means moving your data into separate files, like a CSV, a JSON file, or even a database. I mean, think about it. If a test URL changes, do you want to hunt through your code or just update one single line in a config file? Yeah, me too. This step alone makes your tests way more flexible.
Next up, organization. This is where the magic of data-driven testing comes in. Instead of writing 10 different tests for 10 users, you write one test that can run with 10 or even 1,000 different sets of data. It's also about using good, meaningful data to cover your happy paths, your negative cases, and all those weird edge cases. And please, always remember to automate your data setup and cleanup. It'll keep your tests independent and reliable.
And here it is, the non-negotiable part: security. Never, ever hard-code passwords or API keys directly in your code. It is a massive security risk. Instead, use things like environment variables or encrypted config files. Your tests should load the secret stuff at runtime, keeping it all safe and sound.
Okay, theory is great, but let's actually see what this looks like in the real world. We're going to walk through a super simple, practical example of data-driven testing using TestNG.
So before we even peek at a line of code, let's look at our data. Imagine this is our CSV file. It's simple, it's clean, and most importantly, it's completely separate from our test logic. We've got 3 different sets of credentials we want to test our login flow with. Super easy.
So how do we get this data into our test? Meet magic ingredient number 1, the @DataProvider annotation in TestNG. Its job is super simple. It's basically a data factory. It goes out, it reads your external file, like our CSV, and it gets that data ready to be fed into your test.
And here's ingredient number 2. You just tweak your regular @test annotation. By adding that data provider attribute, you're pretty much telling your test, hey, don't just run once. I want you to connect to that data factory we just made and run yourself again for every single row of data it gives you.
And putting it all together looks something like this. The @DataProvider's only job is to return the data, and the @test method's job is to receive that data as parameters. This simple little connection lets your test logic run over and over, once for every single data set you give it. Pretty clean, right?
So when you apply these principles, separation, externalization, organization, and security, you make a really fundamental shift. You move away from tests that are always breaking and just become a huge headache to maintain.
And you arrive here. Your tests become genuinely maintainable. They become scalable, because adding 100 new test cases is as simple as adding new rows to a file. They become reusable, robust, and maybe most importantly, they become readable. This is what professional test automation really looks like. So there you have it. By following that golden rule of separation and really focusing on externalizing, organizing, and securing your data, you build the foundation for a truly rock-solid automation suite. Mastering these principles is going to save you countless hours and headaches, I promise. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Your automated tests aren't just a bunch of scripts. They are a critical asset that protects the quality of your product. So the big question is, are you managing that asset with the care and the structure that it really deserves?